Donald Trump, as he faces an indictment in Georgia and faces another federal indictment from Jack Smith, decided this week that his best course of action would be to lash out at Republicans in the U.S. Senate for not doing enough to take on the most corrupt administration in history. And no, he's not talking about his former administration. He is talking about the Biden administration. And Donald Trump attacked Republicans in the Senate for not going as aggressive against Biden as their counterparts in the House of Representatives had. Because as we know, Republicans in the House have spent roughly 7 straight months now investigating Biden, investigating his son, investigating their businesses, investigating everything this family has done. And so far, they've come up with absolutely nothing, but they totally swear if you just give them a little more time, they're definitely going to come up with something. And Trump wants the Republicans in the Senate to do the same thing, but they have enough good sense not to do it. Here's what Trump put on Truth Social. Joe Biden is the most corrupt president in the history of the United States, which is being undeniably proven in the House of Representatives every single day. But with all these horrible revelations and facts, why hasn't Republican leadership in the Senate spoken up and rebuked crooked Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats, fascists, and Marxists for their criminal acts against our country, some of them against me? How long does America have to wait for the Senate to act? He says. Keep waiting, bud. First and foremost, let me go ahead and dispel with the lie that you told there, like, the House is uncovering stuff every day. No, they haven't. They have hearsay. They have conjecture. They have testimony from people who are facing pretty massive criminal charges themselves. That's not evidence. Nobody has been able to produce hard, actual evidence that would stand up in court. You have a bunch of people whose testimony would have, off the bat in court, basically be subject to scrutiny because of their own criminal problems. So none of that would hold up. You would not be able to secure a conviction based on anything Republicans have come up with, especially because not only is it coming from people who are under indictment or have now been indicted, but because nobody has evidence to back it up. And some of them are even paid by your good friend, Donald Trump, Kash Patel. So yeah, all of it should be taken with a grain of salt because nobody's proven anything. Now, here's the other issue. The reason Republicans in the Senate have not been going as aggressive against the Biden administration on the issue of corruption as those in the House, it's a very simple reason, and it's a very obvious reason. But it's not the reason everybody's thinking. Because you're thinking, well, the reason the Senate's not doing it is because the Democrats hold the majority, but they do, Republicans have the majority in the House, so they can do it. That's not the reason. No. That's what everybody wants to think, right? That's the easy answer, but it's the wrong answer. The reason Republicans in the Senate are not going on this same wild goose chase that Republicans in the House are going on is because most of the Republicans in the House have nothing to lose. The Republicans in the Senate, when they're up for re-election, and they've got a very tough one coming up in 2024, that is their last chance, according to them, to take the Senate back until the year 2030. So they got to play it cool and they got to play it smart. But they also have to face an entire state. And a statewide election is a hell of a lot more difficult to win than a district election in a district that's been gerrymandered to hell and back, where you could put a potato with an R on it and it would still beat a Democrat. Based on the, mental capacity of some of the Republicans in the House, that's pretty much what they did in some districts. But that's the point. You do have competitive House seats. You've got competitive House seats that are currently held by Republicans. And do you know what those Republicans are telling? Because I've been saying this in, reports for the last couple weeks. They're telling the rest of the Republican Party to please stop doing the stupid, crazy things you're doing because you're going to cost me my job. But that's why you see this crusade being led by people like Kevin McCarthy, people like Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan and Marjorie Taylor Greene, Louis Gohmert. They don't have to worry about elections. They are in safe Republican areas they're not going to lose. So they can be crazy. They can be extreme. But you take somebody like Ted Cruz, who's up for re-election next year. He can't go completely crazy mental against Biden and turn off that many voters in his state by going on a wild goose chase, because he could have a tough election next year. Versus somebody like Tommy Tuberville, who of course is also in the Senate, he can be crazy because his state is not going to elect a Democrat. So he can do the wild, crazy, stupid things Ted Cruz cannot. Not saying Ted Cruz doesn't do stupid things, he does them every day. But I'm just saying they got to pick and choose their battles a little more carefully because they're facing millions of voters each election cycle. Whereas a lot of these House people, some of them only have to face 10, 20,000 people. They can be as stupid and crazy as they want and never face any ramifications of it. Most Republicans in the Senate cannot, and that is why they're not doing what Trump wants them to do. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.